Welcome to Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network. I'm Nick Capozzi, joined today by Jesse Ferreira of FantasyBallBlogger.com. We are standing outside of the Gardens. We're in Boston. I know it's got an official name now, Jesse, but it's still the Gardens here, right?
It's always the Garden. That's right.
Now, the only thing I noticed, this was a little bit weird, because you can see just behind me here is that famous statue of Bobby Hull after he scored the goal, the diving goal. But, you know, the problem is that I was looking for championship banners for, like, Bruins championship banners. I couldn't find them. And then I realized, Jesse, the reason I couldn't find them is because they're all in Montreal.
Okay, that's right. I forgot you're from Canada, and you're in
I'm not from Canada. I'm from Montreal.
Okay, well, welcome to Boston here. A lot of yellow and black around here, so we're proud of our Bruins, and we got us some banners hanging as well.
Yeah, you should be. I think there's 4. Is it 4? I don't know. I just know that Montreal has the. If you're ever looking for Stanley Cup banners, you just Google Montreal. That takes care of it. All right, I'm just teasing you, Jesse. So we're in Boston today. We did a huge draft in New York last night. We're going to do the draft at the greatest bar on Friend Street, right across from the Gardens. And I'm really excited because you and I right now are going to talk a little bit of Patriots. Of course, you cover everything fantasy sports at FantasyBallBlogger.com. In fact, I'm in the expert league you put together with Scott and Adam from the morning show, SiriusXM Fantasy. I'm a little bit nervous about that league. But I'd be nervous, too, if I'm drafting Tom Brady, because from my perspective, I'm not crazy about Tom Brady this year. He is so dependent on Gronk's production for how good he's going to do. Can you make an argument that if Gronk isn't fully healthy, that Tom Brady could be a top 6 or 7 quarterback this year?
You could make an argument.
But we'd want no part of it.
Well, no, not necessarily. If you think of last season, he talk about a disaster of options. You know, it couldn't have been any worse. It might actually have been his best season of play to date. Most people won't think that, but he actually probably played his best. If he were wearing a Denver helmet last season and Peyton Manning were wearing the Patriot helmet, I think you would have seen similar results. Brady would have thrown for 50 touchdowns in Denver. Manning would have struggled much like Brady struggled for the Patriots last year. We're talking no Gronk, you know, for a good part of the season. A lot of rookies getting acclimated. I mean, you saw the frustration on Brady's face.
All right, so I'm going to try and pull your Patriots bias out of this and try and look at this neutrally as a neutral observer. Yeah. Okay, give it to me straight. Aside from the situation, and if, you know, the blue sky was purple, and if this happened to happen, is there, okay, where do you think at the end of the year, where's he going to rank among QBs this season?
Brady's top 10 this season. The division, there's going to be a lot of high-scoring games, and there's a lot of weapons there that are going to be underestimated in the pass and attack.
All right, let's talk about those weapons. Let's go right into the wide receivers. It's a bit of an up-and-down course. It seems it always is. They never seem to have money for receivers here. Break down the receivers for me real quick. Okay,
well, if you're in a PPR league, you got to get Julian Edelman. You saw what he did last year. However, he's not going to be the same PPR receiver as he was last year. Last year, they had no one. They've got, you know, they're healthier now. Kendrell Tompkins, nice-looking sophomore receiver, okay?
I heard that last year. I also heard about Zach Studfeld. Didn't seem to materialize. I'm bashing on Boston because I'm a Habs fan. Okay, sorry.
Okay, yeah, all right. Well, no, good point. But let's go back. We've got a healthy Edelman. Amendola's looking good. We have, again, Dobson's coming back. And I don't know if you heard, for what it's worth, they moved Dobson's locker right next to Brady's. So he's getting that, you know.
I didn't realize that Tom had healing powers and could heal the foot.
You know, when they moved Randy Moss's locker next to Brady's, and, you know, they were tight. Last year's Edelman, you know, before the game, you know, Edelman's like, hey, I'm open. Why don't you look my way a couple times, you know? So Dobson could do that. But, you know, going back, Dobson's a serious athlete. You know, he was a top pick for them. If he's healthy, he can stretch the field. You know, he's a good guy to get up in the red zone as well. But, yeah, there's some quick little guys. Edelman, Amendola. You know.
Yeah, but Amendola's made of paper mache. I mean, you know, I'm not counting on any of those guys. In fact, Edelman, I think, is being overdrafted in the 6th round. Am I crazy?
No, you're not. I agree. Edelman's being overdrafted because if you think about it, he's not going to get a lot of touchdowns. You know, he's a slot receiver. He's going to get a lot of receptions, a lot of yards, but he could be lacking in touchdowns. Again, Edelman's PPR weapon. But there's a lot of weapons on this Patriots team. The safest option to own is Tom Brady. He's going to be the one getting all that yardage passing to these weapons.
All right, what about Gronkowski? Because Gronkowski, obviously, if he's healthy, could be a monster. But I mean, the guy, he's got so many braces on him. It takes him half an hour to get through a metal detector. I mean, just give me Gronkowski. Just tell me one question: how many games does he play?
I'm not going to answer it directly because I got to say, Gronk smash. We're in Boston, all right? Gronk smash. That's what's going to happen. You know, if you get 12 games of this guy, you know, realistically, let's get 12 games of him, of that production, and that's going to be worth a third-round pick. You know, I think, you know, in fantasy.
All right. I'm not buying that at all, but let's talk about the running backs right now. So, obviously, we've got Ridley, Vereen, and rookie James White, who I think is a little bit interesting. We've only got about a minute here, Jesse, but break down those situations for me. Who's going to carry the rock here? Because I think Ridley's got butterfingers.
Okay, good question. Now, Ridley has, obviously, he's one of the most notorious fumbling running backs in the NFL. However, that has made his ADP so low that he could be a great deal because James White, is a lot of hype is building on White. But you know what? When you see the film on him, he looks like a solid professional, but like an average professional. But Ridley and Patriots have a lot of goal line opportunities. We're talking very late round flyer. Stephen Ridley, 10 touchdowns, could happen.
All right. So here's my sugar daddy of the day, brought to you by ArrangementFinders.com. The New England Patriots is going to grossly outperform their draft position. And you know what? I know we gave heck to the Jets the other day and heck to the Giants the other day, and I kind of got to give heck to this offense. There's no one here I really want. So my sugar daddy is actually going to be the New England Patriots defense. I think they're going to grossly outperform their ADP, and I think that's how the Patriots this year are going to win games. Jesse Ferreira, fantasyballblogger.com. You want to follow this guy. He is full of fantasy goodness. This is Razzball right on the Fantasy Sports Network. We'll be back. We got more guests here in Boston.
I was never one for traditional dating, which is why I like to meet guys on ArrangementFinders.com. Arrangement Finders puts a twist on dating that works so well, they guarantee you'll find a girl. That's right, guarantee. Sounds too good to be true? Check out these girls on ArrangementFinders.com who are looking to date. She's hot. She's hot. Okay, her, not so much. Anyway, it's free to join. Go to Arrangement Finders and meet girls like me who know what you really want.
Welcome back, Razzball Radio, Fantasy Sports Network. I'm Nick Capozzi, joined by Smokey, Rob Langevin. And Smokey, man, I'm glad to have you on the road with me. But now that you've had a taste of it, because you've been with me, we're in Boston today, all the way from D.C., how you handling the road mileage?
It's just another trip for me. You know, we've discussed where I've been before. You know, it's half the distance so far, I think. Or maybe even like a quarter of the distance I traveled. But it's still fun nonetheless.
If you wonder why he looks so strung out, it's because he once spent a couple months following fish around the country, selling grilled cheese sandwiches to make money. That is not a joke. This is not his first rodeo in terms of road tripping. But we are in Boston today. We got the greatest bar right behind us. It's not a halo above my man's head. We are at the greatest bar. This is where we're doing our draft party tonight. We got Jesse Ferreira here from Fantasy Ball Blogger. We've got Marcus Katkin from Blindside Football. So it's going to be a great day today. New York was amazing last night. By the way, if you didn't watch the New York tape, you should go back and do it. But right now, I want to talk, Smokey, with you about a couple of guys that, in your opinion, are going way higher than they should be. So guys that you're like, whoa, why are you taking that guy there? And one thing that, too, I will point out, I know I said this a bunch of times already, but when we get into these drafts with real people, which is what you are, unless you're superhuman, that's a possibility, I suppose, but assuming that you're just a regular Joe like us, when you get into these regular Joe drafts, everything changes because we know where guys are supposed to go, and then you get into here and it becomes a mess. So let's start with one of the players that you think less of than the consensus. Let's start with Percy Harvin, okay? Yeah. Sorry, let me frame the question. I apologize here. I'm just riffing. With Smokey. So Percy Harvin, I actually like this year. I'm very comfortable taking him in the 5th round because when he's healthy, he's a top 10 talent, not a wide receiver in the NFL. He's that kind of skill. He's going around the 5th, 6th round, so why should he be going even worse than that?
You know, I'm just skeptical with the Seattle offense. I know Russell Wilson is this smart, intelligent quarterback who just makes wise decisions. They're going to have to be creative to get him the ball there. You know, the other wide receivers are nothing to, draft anywhere. Maybe a Doug Baldwin late. But Hervin's going to get most of the attention from other defenses, and I think that's going to take away from his value. You know, if he's getting drafted in the 5th round, you got to look at guys with the same or, coordinating ADP like a Michael Floyd. I think Michael Floyd is probably going to be twice as valuable as Harvin. Well, that's probably an exaggeration. Maybe 60% more valuable than Harvin, just because of the amount of receptions, amount of yards he's going to do, and you got Harvin's injury issues too.
Aren't you worried though? Or don't you think that there's the upside for Harvin, because it looks like the Seahawks are going to be a more balanced attack this year, more of an aerial game? That should benefit, obviously, Harvin, but also the offense as a whole. I mean, what is his absolute ceiling in your opinion?
Absolute ceiling? I don't see him as just a catch monster. I mean, whatever we've seen is flash, but so's a Ferrari with a grandma driving it. But I just don't trust the injury history. If he catches 70 balls, maybe 1,000, 1,100 yards, and maybe another 300 yards rushing, that's probably about the cap that I would put him at.
All right, give me another guy that you don't like as much as everyone else.
Nick Foles. I mean,
you don't like Nick Foles?
No, I do not like Nick Foles. I think people are trying to buy into the fact that, he went 27-2 last year. His offensive weapons have changed minus Shady. We watched the game the other night against the Steelers, and the offense looks pedestrian. Macklin is adjusting to his new number one role, and now he got hurt again.
You know who else looks pedestrian? The Boston Bruins.
Yeah, I'm a Ranger fan, so I'm just going to shut up. But the other offensive weapons there, I just don't see him producing the same amount. I mean, it's ridiculous to think that he'd be 27-2 again. But, he's probably going to put up 30 touchdowns, but he's probably going to throw for like 15. So people are drafting him above guys like Phillip Rivers, Jay Cutler, Tony Romo, with the expectation that he's going to only grow from 27-2, when I think 27-2 is probably right around where he is with more interceptions.
All right, you'd rather have Cutler?
Oh, absolutely.
Would you rather have Romo?
Yes.
Would you rather have Cam Newton?
No.
See, and this is where I disagree with you, because Cam Newton, I think, still has the upside to be a top 5 quarterback. I don't know what Foles does. I think it's a system there, and I think if Sanchez, for example, if something happened to Foles, Sanchez would slot right in there and keep it going in the same kind of rhythm. And Jets fans, I know you're laughing, but you got no skill position players. I'd stop laughing if I were you. But I think Sanchez would fit well into a system. Okay, shoot me another guy you don't like.
We got Demarco Murray. He's going way too high for me. He's basically peanut brittle minus the peanuts. If you draft him, you're basically going to have to handcuff yourself twice with Dunbar and Randall. The Cowboys' defense is probably going to dictate how well their offense is going to do, because they're going to be behind by a lot of points. The Dallas defense is just going to be atrocious this year. If you could draft DeMarco Murray for the first half of a game and then bench him after the first half is over, he'd probably win you an MVP.
So do you like John Randall then, who's not being drafted, or if he is, it's in the last round or two?
Joseph Randall, yeah.
Joseph Randall. I'm thinking the defensive lineman.
Yeah, I like Randall, but I think I like Dunbar just a tick better. So I'd go Dunbar and then Randall first.
But Dunbar wouldn't get the reps. If something did happen to Murray, he's a little guy.
Yeah, he is. He's the change of pace scat back. But I think with the way that the Cowboys are going to be trailing in games, I think that his best utilization is probably in that package, like a Darren Sproles kind of morph look.
Okay, there's a storm approaching. I hope we get this show done in time. Okay, give me another. You know what, Smokey? I want yet another guy that you're not crazy about. And don't say me again.
I forgot him.
Dun, 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 dun,
okay.
dun.
Reggie Bush.
Glad you prepared. Reggie Bush.
I apologize to America. Yeah,
and Canada.
And Canada. And the far eastern Antilles.
Reggie Bush is going to suck. Is that what you're telling us?
He's not going to suck, but I'd rather have Joique Bell based on draft position. It's all about value for Bush there. Joique Bell basically caught the same amount of passes and wasn't utilized the same way as Bush was in the running game. And I think Bell is actually a better runner and pass catcher than Bush is.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. And, in fact, he's also more solid. I think I've said this a couple times. I think Reggie Bush is going to go back to the type of role he had in New Orleans. And Joique Bell has a chance here, especially in that offense. And I know, some people are thinking, well, Linehan gone, that Detroit offense is going to take a step back. I still like them this year. I think there's a big, explosive year coming out of that offense. I'm excited to see what the Detroit Lions do. You got one last one for me, or we got no time left? I mean, you're running the show at this point. That's been determined since we've been, driving around the country together. You got another guy for me or what?
I do have one more. His name is Desean Jackson. Desean comes in. He's got a lot of swagger. Deshaun's got a lot of swagger. He looks like he pulls up in the parking lot and he expects the parking attendants to just polish his Rolls Royce and do all this stuff, but he's going to pout. This season he's going to pout.
Like you when we're on the road together?
Absolutely, because I have to sit next to you. But he's going to pout because the Redskins' offensive line is just not going to give RG3 the time for him to pass the ball down the field. And let's face it, Desean Jackson is a down-the-field catcher. You know, he has Garcon over the middle, short, but Garcon can also go deep, and he's probably not going to pout same way Desean is going to pout.
All right, you ready to party in Boston tonight or what?
Yeah, I'm shuffling off to Boston.
Whoa.
No. I'm shipping off to Boston.
I'm from New York. Let's sing Sinatra instead.
Okay. This is Razzball Radio Fantasy Sports Network. You know what's really cool, though? Collecting your league fees. Let someone else do it. Do it with sportsvault.net. Absolutely for free. This is Razzball Radio Fantasy Sports Network. We'll be back right after this.
I was never one for traditional dating, which is why I like to meet guys on arrangementfinders.com. Arrangement Finders puts a twist on dating that works so well, they guarantee you'll find a girl. That's right, guarantee. Sounds too good to be true? Check out these girls on arrangementfinders.com who are looking to date. She's hot. She's hot. Okay, her, not so much. Anyway, it's free to join. Go to Arrangement Finders and meet girls like me who know what you really want.
Welcome back to Razzball Radio Fantasy Sports Network. I'm here with Marcus Katkin from Blindside Football at Blindside Football. Marcus, thanks for driving all the way up from New Hampshire to hang with us in Beantown, although I know I'm not supposed to call it Beantown. No one calls it Beantown, right?
No, not at all. Nobody. Great time.
Just me. Hey, by the way, man, when we were down in Miami at the Clevelander Hotel, your guys came out from Blindside Football. They were amazing. I really appreciate you sending them down, helping us out in Miami.
Anytime. They had a blast. They loved it. I can't talk enough about you guys. It's been a great tour for you guys, and they did a great job down there.
Hey, and if we survive it and actually do it again, we'd love to come hang out with all you guys again and do this. We're actually working on something, too, for baseball, something actually really special for baseball. But we're still talking football right now. And, Marcus, I wanted to throw a couple of guys at you, or we've discussed, rather, I apologize, a couple of guys that you like more than their ADP. So let's kick it right off with Trent Richardson. A little bit iffy right now because I was big on him going into camp, but some of the news lately hasn't been that upbeat. I still think he's got a shot. I mean, the skill was there in college. He was very serviceable as a rookie. You know, Marshawn Lynch, when he was first with Buffalo, didn't do, anywhere near what he's doing in Seattle. Even after the trade, it took him the whole next year with the playbook. Please tell me that Trent Richardson could kind of do a Marshawn Lynch, even a Marshawn Lynch lightish kind of thing.
I've been taking a lot of heat for him this year, but I'm still sticking behind it. You know, he's a guy that I think he's going to be the guy there, and I know a lot of people are saying, the yards per carry are down and all that, but Vic Ballard's hurt. Ahmad Bradshaw is, a walk to the park away from getting hurt himself. So I think he's going to have a majority of the work, and this is a team that had the 10th most rushing touchdowns last year. He's going to get a lot of red zone work. I think, people like Michael Turner in the past have shown us that if you have a lot of red zone work, even if you're a plotter, you're going to be fantasy relevant and could be a strong running back one.
But I don't think he's a plotter. I think he's got some shiftiness, and he's a way better pass catcher than Marshawn Lynch. Is that a fair argument?
Oh, definitely. I like him a lot in the passing game. I think 30-plus receptions every year in the NFL. He gets it done in the passing game as well. And, again, those are the kind of guys that I like to get, rushing and receiving, getting it done on both sides. He's a three-down back for them on an offense that I think is going to score a lot this year.
All right. See, so I'm not crazy. Marcus just, backed up what I've been saying for a couple of weeks, that Trent Richardson could be really good this year. So I'm not crazy, even if it looks like it after this much time on the road. Okay, another guy that you like more than everyone else. And here I'm going to disagree with you because I am not a Ray Rice guy. I think that, so much wear on his body. If you go back even when he was at Rutgers and look at the miles this guy put on the field, tell me why Ray Rice is going to be worth anything this year. Because I'm already on the Bernard Pierce train, even though no one else is.
See, I'm not really getting the Bernard Pierce thing. Last year he had 2.9 yards per carry. Actually had a worse yards per carry than Ray Rice. So I think it was more their offensive line than it actually being Ray Rice's fault. They were 28th in run block last season, the Ravens were. But I think it's a guy that we're going to see get a lot done, get a big workload this year. He's healthy. He was kind of banged up last year. And then, Gary Kubiak steps in, and he's a guy that likes to run the ball. We saw what he did with Arian Foster. He likes that guy that can be a three-down back like Ray Rice is. I just think this is another guy that's going to have a big workload, and even more with Kubiak there.
You know what, I'm really excited, too, because tonight we've got Smokey, of course, is here with me. You're here. Jesse's here from Fantasy Ball Blogger. We might do like a pros versus Joe's draft. And one thing that I've seen this year over and over as we're doing all these drafts is guys like you and I and Jesse who know the expert consensus ranking, where guys should go. You get into these home league drafts, and it goes bananas. What's the best way to capitalize on a situation like that? When you see people making mistakes, what's your favorite way to kind of, give them a punch in the gut? Southie style.
You got to zig when everybody else zagging. I mean, if you see people taking crazy picks or you see a run happening, just do the opposite. I've been a big guy of drafting for value. It doesn't matter if you already have 3 running backs, 4 running backs, or wide receivers. If there's still value there, if there's a guy falling, you still got to draft him. Draft the value, sort it all out later.
Okay, that's a really good point. So let me ask you a question now, because I've participated in so many drafts this year. 2 times I got Jimmy Graham in the first round, and both times I hated how my team turned out. Now, Jimmy Graham is awesome, and really if he's a wide receiver, he's a top 4 or 5 wide receiver. But how have your teams turned out? Or let me rephrase the question, because it's been a long day. If you took, would you take Jimmy Graham in the first round?
I'm definitely taking Jimmy Graham in the first round. Have done it in several leagues. I mean, for me, once you get past those top 5 running backs and past Calvin Johnson, he's my number 7th guy off the board. He's as safe can be. If you look at him last season, the fantasy numbers he put up last season, even in standard leagues, would have made him the 6th best running back and the 4th best wide receiver. So he's still putting up those top numbers, even though he's a tight end. Tight end's his position. And then just that extra boost you kind of get at the position, the positional advantage. I love it. I love it.
Okay. You got any more guys real quick that we can shoot at here that you like better than the masses?
I love Jay Cutler this year. I think a lot of people have already kind of been riding that bandwagon, but he has great wide receivers, a great pass-catching running back. Martellus Bennett, I think, is underrated for his team as well. He's got a lot of options there. And then really deep, Sam Bradford. I mean, this is a guy who was a top 10 quarterback before the injury, was top 5 in the NFL in passing touchdowns. I don't think he's getting his due.
Okay, now let me. I was with you on Sam Bradford at the beginning of the season because he did have a 14-4 touchdown interception ratio. It looked like some of the offensive weapons were ready to emerge, especially if, and I'm not buying Zach Stacy, but especially if Stacy could get that running game going. But so much of his passes were checkdowns. I mean, he's the new captain checkdown. He used to be Trent Edwards of the Bills, and now I think it's Sam Bradford.
Yeah, I mean, he does check it down a lot. He does like those little underneath passes, and I think that's actually going to increase this year with guys like Tavon Austin, guys that kind of catch those underneath stuff and kind of break it loose. But check down or not, he was putting up the fantasy points. He was getting it done. So I think right now he's going the 26th, 27th quarterback off the board. That's just crazy to me.
I like one of the names you brought up, Tavon Austin, who would have to have a big leap forward if he's going to help Sam Bradford take a next step forward. Tavon Austin, what do you think of him this year? Because he's a guy that's not being talked about, and if he's being drafted at all, it's very late.
He's another guy I really like. I mean, last season he put up receptions, receiving yards, even rushing yards, the same as Cordero Patterson. And we see where Patterson's going in the drafts because of his potential. I think Tavon Austin has similar potential. Obviously not as good an offensive system, but I think still has a lot of potential to break out from that 10th, 11th, 12th round ADPs.
Okay, buy or sell real quick here, rapid fire. 5th round, higher or lower on Cordero Patterson?
Lower.
Justin Hunter, 9th round.
Hunter, I like Hunter this year. I'm going higher.
All right, good stuff. All right, this is Marcus Katkin from BlindsideFootball.com. You want to check them out, of course, at Blindside Football. This is a great website, guys. You definitely want to see what these guys are doing. They also do a very good podcast. You guys sound great, by the way. So we're gonna see if I can kidnap them and put them on my show from time to time. We're in Boston, guys. We're gonna go in and draft. This is gonna be a really exciting draft. And after Boston, we head to Buffalo, and you don't want to miss the Buffalo show because we are drafting my old school hometown league, the first fantasy football league I ever played in. That's happening in Buffalo. If we survive Boston, because it could get kind of crazy because Boston and my cousins are coming out tonight. Fantasy Sports Network, Razzball Radio. We're going to see you guys tomorrow in the Flow.